The moment I realized we were disposable didn't come with a pink slip. It came with a tray of overpriced sandwiches and bottled water with linen napkins. That day, we were giving the final demo of a prototype that took 2.5 years, 5 engineers, and enough late-night espresso to trigger a lawsuit from the American Heart Association. It was humming. Finally, an adaptive procurement intelligence system designed to cut a Fortune 100 company's vendor onboarding time by nearly 60%. My code, my architecture, my baby, all those nights whispering to my screen, "Hold together, you beautiful Frankenstein." Midway through the presentation in walks Fletcher Grady, our newly crowned CEO. Slick suit, bright smile, the charisma of a cruise ship magician. He clapped exactly once and said, "This'll look amazing in our Q3 investor deck." No great job? No, how did you do it? Just a man plucking our thunder like a toddler grabbing a toy that makes noise. That was the vibe. I headed what they labeled New Systems Development, a sanitized name for a tiny innovation lab the board kept around for PR sparkle. Our chairs were from Craigslist, our laptops wheezed on startup, and our annual budget wouldn't cover Fletcher's dental veneers. Still, we delivered. We delivered despite every strategic pivot meant to smother us quietly. We stayed alive with patches, favors, and stubborn grit. And every time our system got close to market ready, someone up top tried to reframe our approach. MBA speak for kill it before it makes us look bad. Quick sidebar, if you've made it this far and you're part of the 96% listening without subscribing, toss us a like or hit that button. It keeps this channel caffeinated, motivated, and delightfully petty. And trust me, you want us petty. Back to the moment it all snapped. Fletcher, of course. Fletcher had that tech bro zen energy. He quoted Medium articles like scripture, but hadn't coded a single line since Java 101. The man could suck the oxygen out of any meeting like a malfunctioning air purifier. He hated that our buggy little prototype was outperforming enterprise tools backed by 9-figure budgets. Hated that prospective clients were starting to ask us the questions. When one major partner called me directly instead of going through the proper channels, Fletcher lost it. He kicked over a trash bin in the hallway and barked, "No more side quests." Side quests. That's what he called our work. So I stopped playing nice. 3 months before the layoffs, I met with my old mentor, Paul, retired CTO turned woodworking hobbyist and whiskey philosopher. We sat at this dive bar in Cincinnati. I vented. He nodded, then handed me a napkin with a list scribbled in Sharpie. File a provisional patent. Start an LLC. Transfer the IP. Keep your mouth shut. I laughed. He didn't. "Mayor," he said, "you'll thank me the day he sells your soul and forgets your name." That same week, I did it. Named the LLC Blue Knox Solutions after the mutt I had in 3rd grade who once chased off a mailman. Filed the paperwork from a burner laptop using an email address that practically self-destructed when I closed the tab. I didn't tell anyone. Not my team, not my partner, not even my dog. We were still debugging that week, still dreaming about version 2.0, still believing we mattered. And that's the sickest part. We didn't see the knife. We were too busy sharpening pencils with our teeth and building the future out of broken tools. We didn't see the knife coming. We were too busy sharpening pencils with our teeth and building the future out of broken tools. But Fletcher was already out there pitching our future to someone else. It was a Friday afternoon when the Zoom invite hit no agenda, no prep, just a vague subject line, mandatory realignment update, sent 30 minutes before the call. If you've worked in tech long enough, you know that smell the scent of layoffs coming, like burnt plastic and cheap cologne. I joined early because I've always been the kind of fool who shows up on time even to my own execution. Fletcher's face was already on screen eyes, locked into the camera like he was about to pitch a crypto scam. He didn't blink, didn't flinch, just launched straight into his script. "As you know," he said like we'd all just shared lunch, "macroeconomic headwinds continue to pressure our strategic priorities. We've made the difficult decision to sunset all exploratory departments effective immediately. Sunset, like we were a screensaver. My camera was on. So were my teammates. There were 6 of us. No one said a word. Greg stared blankly. Maya blinked fast, trying not to cry. One guy's kid started wailing in the background. No one muted. Impacted employees will receive transition documents by end of day. Thank you for your contributions. Then I kid you not, he smiled, like he'd just finished giving a toast at his own engagement party. I closed the Zoom before I threw something at my screen. No severance, no meeting recap, not even a lazy best wishes. Just gone like we were never there. That night, I hate-scrolled LinkedIn and drank cheap red wine like it was cough syrup. My inbox was a corporate graveyard. HR sent a boilerplate PDF titled, "Your Next Chapter," like they were handing me a children's book instead of a pink slip. But the real gut punch came the next morning. Jamie, my old project manager, texted me, "Check Slack. You're going to want to see this." I logged in, and there it was. Someone anonymous, likely from sales, had leaked a deck from Thursday's board meeting. The title page, Project Cascade Next Gen Procurement Optimization. My stomach flipped. Cascade was our internal code name. That was our deck. I flipped through the slides, heart racing. Same design, same mock-ups, same roadmap. Only one thing missing us. No names, no credits, no mention of the team who built it. Just a sleek, polished heist with Fletcher's fingerprints all over it. In the presenter notes, led by Executive Innovation Cascade, positions us as a category leader. I sat in my robe, hair a mess, coffee untouched, and felt my jaw lock. It wasn't even betrayal. It was a clean erasure, a harvest of our labor repackaged without us. Fletcher had fired us on Friday and sold our bones by Monday. My next chapter wasn't some triumphant reinvention. It looked like microwaved quesadillas at 2 a.m. and wearing the same stretched-out hoodie for 3 days straight. No calls, just static. Then the texts started rolling in. Greg landed at a fintech startup in Columbus. Maya took a soft exit and a hush package. Last I heard, she was house hunting in Austin. Max, our DevOps guy, sent a cryptic, "Not worth it. Let it go." Then, radio silence. Our Slack channel, once a war room buzzing with code commits and caffeine-fueled banter, was now a digital tombstone. I thought about disappearing, just slipping off the map. I had savings, enough to get lost for a while. Portland, maybe. Grow herbs. Open a bookstore that never restocks. Tell people I used to work in tech like some battle-scarred vet whispering about the war. And still, despite the humiliation, the gut punch, the way Fletcher stole what we built and smiled while doing it, I found myself reopening the prototype on my laptop. It still ran. Janky, raw, unpolished, but functional. A little Frankenstein that had no right to live, and yet there it was, humming along in the dim blue light of my kitchen. I opened a blank Google Doc and titled it Exit Plan. I made a list. Teaching, freelance consulting, selling driftwood art at weekend markets, deleting all social media, faking my own death. Every idea felt like surrender. If you felt that fire, even a little, if part of you wants to see how far this ripple reaches, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because trust me, the story isn't over. And the next chapter gets even better. And then, at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Was that your tool he pitched to the board?" I froze. Then a second message. "If it was, we need to talk." A third line appeared almost instantly. "Alina Rojos, VP Procurement, Delker Inc." My pulse doubled. I knew that name. Everyone in B2B procurement did. Delker was the golden whale the client Fletcher chased for 2 fiscal years. We'd met Alina twice at conferences. She was brilliant, sharp as cut glass, and burned with the kind of energy you couldn't fake. She once told me over cocktails, "Fletcher's the type who'd steal $1 from a tip jar and call it leadership." I didn't respond right away. Just sat there in silence, heart pounding, wine forgotten. Because if she saw it, if someone outside recognized the work as mine, it meant Fletcher didn't just steal it, he tried to sell it to someone who actually knew better. And something in me clicked. The fog lifted, shame peeled away like sunburn. Beneath it, something colder, focused, a flicker of righteous fire. I wasn't out of moves. I just forgot I could still make them. 3 months earlier, before the axe dropped, I'd had lunch with my old mentor, Gabe retired CTO backyard smoker, Bourbon Oracle. We met at this Thai hole in the wall where the spice levels doubled as personality tests. I vented. He listened, nodded, then wiped sweat off his brow and said something that stuck. "You're building something real, Mur. That means it's already halfway stolen." I laughed. He didn't. "You got code, you got a pitch deck, you better have a paper trail." I blinked. "Gabe, I'm not some dorm room Zuckerberg. And Fletcher's not a CEO. He fired back. "He's a LinkedIn vulture with a board pass. Protect yourself." That night, fueled by whiskey and spite, I did. Filed a provisional patent. Registered an LLC. Used the name Coda Systems after the mutt I had as a kid who once bit a UPS truck. I locked it all down, just in case. And now, just in case had just called me. At the time, it felt ridiculous, like insuring a kite. Filing that provisional patent, registering the LLC, backing up every line of code like it was sacred. But now, after Alina's message, now it felt like I'd been strapping on armor the whole time without realizing it. I opened the folder buried on my old external drive. There it was, the patent filing, clean and time-stamped. The backup repo. The roadmap file with my initials buried in the metadata like invisible ink. Not a digital ghost, an authorship fingerprint. I wasn't just a disgruntled former employee anymore. I was a legal hand grenade. I cracked my knuckles and called Alina. She picked up on the first ring. "I knew it," she said, not even waiting for a hello. Fletcher's version looked like someone slapped a lipstick filter on innovation. "I don't work for him anymore," I said. "Good," she replied. "Then let's talk business." And just like that, the energy shifted. She didn't need the full pitch. She'd seen the real thing. She knew what it was worth. All she needed was paperwork, something airtight she could wave in legal's face before pulling the plug on Fletcher's fantasy pipeline. So I pulled an all-nighter. Used every free licensing template I could find, cross-referencing Reddit threads written by night owl lawyers and startup founders with anxiety disorders. My hands were trembling, not from fear, but from raw, focused adrenaline. The Coda Systems bank account was still open. The tax ID still active. The IP legally mine. By 4:12 a.m., I had a clean PDF, a domain registered, and a Gmail signature that made me sound like a founder instead of a woman wearing the same hoodie since Tuesday. I hit send. Then I sat there staring at the screen, watching the blinking cursor like it was a heartbeat. Steady. Alive. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel erased. I felt dangerous. The signed term sheet hit my inbox at 6:03 p.m. on Thursday. It landed like a thunderclap in a silent room. It was real. Alina's team moved faster than I thought a procurement VP could legally operate. These were people who once took 9 weeks to approve a minor UI font tweak. But this time, it wasn't my urgency driving the speed. It was hers. She wanted out. She wanted off Fletcher's ride. And Coda Systems was her exit ramp. Clean signage, no detours, fewer clowns, exclusive licensing, expedited onboarding, expansion clause in 6 months. And God bless Alina's savage soul, a press release drafted and ready to drop with my company name in bold and Fletcher's company not mentioned once. Coda Systems to provide procurement automation solution for Delker Inc. I reread it. Twice. Then I opened the bottle of whiskey I'd been saving for a birthday that had come and gone without a candle. I didn't feel like celebrating. Not exactly. More like bracing. Like standing on a beach watching the tide pull back just before a tsunami hits. This wasn't a pivot. This was arson. And Fletcher was about to smell smoke. That $70 million pipeline deal he'd been teasing to shareholders. The transformational contract he'd been using to butter up investors for another round of funding, his golden ticket to a bigger title and beachfront office, gone. Alina waited until Friday, 4:59 p.m. to drop the bomb. Her legal team sent the termination notice to Fletcher's office with a line so sharp it should have come with a paper cut. Warning due to product overlap and strategic redirection, Delker Inc. is rescinding its letter of intent. Effective immediately. Translation: we bought what you stole from the person you stole it from. Now go cry in your convertible. I didn't gloat. Not out loud. But when someone sent me a screenshot of the company's Slack lighting up like a Christmas tree, yeah, I watched. Fletcher's assistant was editing the Q3 spreadsheet in real time, trying to patch a $70 million hole with wishful thinking. Sales tagged legal. Legal tagged procurement. Procurement long gone. Procurement tagged no one. Because procurement was gone. And me, I stayed invisible. No grand announcement. No dramatic mic drop, just silence. But deep down, I felt it, the tremor starting to build under Fletcher's feet. He didn't know it was me. Not yet. But he would. And when he did, I wanted him to feel it like a phantom limb, something he thought he still controlled, only to realize it was gone for good. Fletcher got blindsided at the Q3 forecast meeting. I wasn't there. But Neil, my longtime friend still inside the company, gave me the blow-by-blow through a burner Slack. He muted himself, cracked open a Diet Coke, and settled in like he was watching Sunday Night Football. Started off normal, Neil typed, charts, buzzwords, graphs, pointing vaguely up. Then the CFO interrupted. Where's Delker? Fletcher blinked. What do you mean? I mean, she said already. Scrolling furiously, Delker was on the list, confirmed pending close. 70 million? They're gone. Silence. Fletcher tried to recover. Probably just a CRM delay. The sales director cut in. They pulled the letter of intent. This morning. Neil said Fletcher froze like someone had yanked his power cord. What you're telling me? The CFO said slowly that our Q4 anchor client walked away and no one knew. Q panic. Real panic. Tabs flipped, emails fired, legal pinged procurement. Procurement was on PTO. People were scrambling like gamblers chasing a bad hand. Fletcher turned pale, sweaty, his jaw locked like he was doing math he couldn't solve. Then he stood up, hands on hips, and said, "No joke, someone leaked our pitch. Find out who." I almost spit my tea. He actually believed it had been leaked from inside the company, that someone had betrayed him. The idea that I could have built the whole thing independently never even entered his mind. To Fletcher, I was erased. A non-threat. A footnote in an HR file. So now, the only explanation he could come up with: espionage. Neil said he started rambling about NDAs, IP theft, corporate sabotage. He even accused Delker's team of unethical behavior, like Alina needed to steal anything from a man who once asked if Git was a competitor. And me? I turned off my phone, walked to the corner food truck, bought a taco, sat on a park bench and watched a dog try to fight a pigeon. And lose. It wasn't fireworks. It was quiet. It was the feeling of breathing clean air after weeks in smoke. He still didn't know it was me, but he would. 2 days later, he made his move. Predictable, desperate. He sent a letter through his legal team, accusing Delker of breach of exclusivity and intellectual encroachment. The buzzwords were thick proprietary conflict, unauthorized overlap, trade secret misappropriation. From the man who thinks IP is short for important PowerPoint. I didn't respond, didn't speak, because I didn't have to. Sometimes silence is the loudest thing in the room, especially when you're the one holding the truth. Alina's legal team responded within 24 hours. No drama, no delay, just receipts. The reply included everything: patent number, filing date, licensing agreement, prototype repository, LLC registration under Coda Systems, all notarized and flawless. And at the center of it all, my name. Every commit, every roadmap, every timestamp Fletcher thought he'd erased. Still there, still mine. The email began simply: "There's only one name on that patent, and it isn't yours." That's when the dominoes started falling. Neil sent me screenshots from inside investor Slack, messages flying like shrapnel. Why didn't we know about the patent? Who handled due diligence? Do we even own this code? Then came the big one from the VC partner who led their last funding round. He was furious. Fletcher had sold them a story Cascade was proprietary tech developed under his leadership. Now, he was standing in front of investors with proof that story was a lie. They demanded an internal review. Every commit log, every Slack backup, every bit of the prototype's history. And that's when the cracks started showing. The Git logs, tagged to me. The original roadmap, written by me. The Jira threads, all under my name. They found the Slack channel archived the day we were let go. And the metadata on the prototype dated, months before Fletcher ever uttered the phrase procurement automation in a meeting. Then Jenna called an old colleague now at a competitor. "Was that your system?" She asked like we were being recorded. I didn't answer, just let her sit in the silence. "It's everywhere," she said. Slack threads, Reddit, founder groups. People know. Then she whispered, "Hell of a move. I hope you burn the whole thing down." She wasn't the only one. Turns out tech gossip travels faster than Fletcher's legal team ever could. The patent screenshots started spreading. The founder forums lit up. Even clients got wind of it. I saw a tweet from a VC strategist that read, "If you're going to steal a tool, make sure the dev you fired didn't outlawyer you 3 months ago." Startup karma. The power wasn't just in the paperwork, it was in being seen. Not as a casualty, not as a cog, but as the creator. Fletcher was about to learn what it feels like to watch the ground he stole crumble under his Gucci loafers. The collapse didn't come loud. It came like a landslide. Quiet, steady, ruthless. By Monday, their stock dropped 3%. Not much, but Wall Street is skittish. When fear spreads, it spreads fast. Slack leaks turned to newsletter rumors. Rumors reached clients, demo cancellations, postponed deals, quiet exits. Delker wasn't the only one walking, and no one wanted to be linked to a vendor accused of stealing proprietary tech. By Wednesday, the board called an emergency meeting. Neil sent me a photo of the invite. The subject line, "Urgent IP Review and Ethics Audit." Fletcher had built his castle out of sand. And the tide, it was already halfway in. The meeting was labeled Urgent IP Review and Ethics Inquiry. Sounds dull, right? It wasn't. The CFO resigned before lunch. The CTO quit the next day. And someone in IT, either brave or done caring, leaked an audit log showing Fletcher had accessed our old dev environment at 2:14 a.m. the weekend before our layoffs. Guess he'd been visioning all over our staging server. Internal memos started using phrases like unenforceable claims and possibly fraudulent representations. Illegal. Not necessarily. But when those words land in your inbox attached to your name, they sound like a corporate death rattle. I didn't speak out. I didn't need to. But I did get an email from a tech journalist, the kind who writes with scalpels instead of pens. Off the record? For now, are you the original creator of the tool pitched as Project Cascade? I stared at the screen. My finger hovered over delete. Then I paused, opened a new folder, and uploaded everything. Patent filings, the licensing agreement, screenshots of the original prototype repository with my name stamped into every commit like a blood oath. No comments. No narrative. Just the truth. I sent it from a burner account. Signed it former employee, current owner. The next morning, an anonymous expose hit inboxes across the tech industry like a thunderclap. It didn't name names, but it didn't have to. Anyone paying attention knew who it was about. It traced the story arc from visionary CEO to possible IP fraud, from innovation leader to litigation risk. It quoted unnamed sources and hinted at lawsuits. One line stood out if true. The consequences could involve clawbacks, shareholder actions, and potential SEC scrutiny, all stemming from a product the company may never have had the right to sell. I read it once, then again, and then I closed the tab and smiled. Not a grin, not a gloat, just a quiet, centered satisfaction. Because I didn't need fire and fury. I didn't want a courtroom circus or internet drama. I just needed Fletcher to sit in that boardroom jaw clenched while the empire he built on stolen bricks quietly collapsed under its own weight. That sound, that silence was enough. They saved his name for last. That's how I knew. I was sitting in the back of a Marriott ballroom, sipping conference coffee that tasted like regret, pretending to care about a panel on digital procurement synergies when the MC said it. Unfortunately, Fletcher Grady won't be joining us today. He sends his regards. Translation. He was gone. The whispers had already started. Slack threads, side chats, nervous laughter near the bagel table. But now it was real. His resignation had leaked that morning. The press release read, "Pursuing new opportunities." Translation lawyers told him to shut up and get out before the pitchforks arrived. No farewell speech, no fond memories, just static where his legacy should have been. And then Alina took the stage. She looked calm, poised, like a woman who had watched the house burn from her porch with a glass of wine and had chosen not to call the fire department. Her keynote was clean. No gimmicks, no buzzwords marinated in VC foam, just facts and a case study. At the 32-minute mark, she dropped the hammer. We've recently partnered with a new vendor, Coda Systems, to transform our procurement pipeline. Their platform cut onboarding time by 42%, automated vendor scoring, and integrated seamlessly with 5 legacy systems. We're proud to name them our exclusive provider moving forward. And there it was. My name, my work, my company, finally seen, on the record, in the light. My name was on the slide. My logo, Coda Systems, on the backdrop. And the tool, my tool, it ran live in the demo video, smoother than I remembered, refined beyond the rough prototype I built under duress and duct tape. The applause hit like static. I didn't even hear it. I didn't go up afterward, didn't shake hands, didn't pass out business cards. I just closed my laptop, slid it into my canvas bag, and let the satisfaction bloom slow, steady, like warm bourbon spreading through my chest. 1 LLC, 1 burner email. 70 million gone from Fletcher's pipeline and a hell of a lot more from his reputation. And me, I walked out of that ballroom into the late afternoon sun. Head high, the air cooler than it had any right to be. My phone buzzed like a hornet's nest. Press requests, consulting inquiries, speaking invites, investor follow-ups. Calendar pings I hadn't even opened yet. But I didn't look back. Not once. Fletcher built his empire on scaffolding he stole from the people he underestimated. And it collapsed, just like it was always going to. I built mine on grit, on late nights, on half-eaten dinners and untold hours of troubleshooting in Slack threads and code comments. And yeah, on a damn good lawyer and one very specific bar napkin checklist I took seriously when it mattered most. I'll take that trade any day. For anyone watching this, anyone who's ever sat in a conference room while someone else took credit for your work, this one's for you. Because I know what it's like to be overlooked, dismissed, told that your ideas are rough drafts just waiting to be rebranded by someone with a louder voice or a better office. I know what it feels like to be written out of your own narrative. But I also know is quiet preparation beats loud confrontation. Every time. The NDA I read instead of signing the patent I filed, instead of ranting on social media, the backup repo I saved when no one else thought it was worth archiving. That's what made the difference. Not ego, not rage, just calm, consistent documentation, legal groundwork, strategic patience. Because in corporate America, protecting your ideas isn't paranoia, it's survival. Let them laugh at your spreadsheets. Let them roll their eyes at your backup folders and password-protected roadmaps. Then let them watch from the sidelines while the future walks away with your name on it. I didn't make a scene. I made a paper trail. And in the end, it spoke louder than any viral takedown or legal battle ever could. So if you're sitting there now, where I was months ago, don't underestimate yourself. Write it down. Save a copy. Ask the right questions, document everything, and believe quietly, stubbornly, absolutely in your own damn brilliance. To every engineer, builder, designer, or quiet problem solver who's been overshadowed by someone with a fancier title, You are the real stars of the corporate jungle. Keep your heads down, keep your code clean. And when the moment comes, if you've made it this far, I want to hear from you. Not just for me, but for every person who's ever had their work stolen, their voice ignored, or their value underestimated. Drop a comment below. Tell me if you've ever been in my shoes, or if you've ever watched someone like Fletcher get away with it. I read every one, and trust me, your stories matter. Your voice matters. The more we talk about it, the more we remind each other that silence isn't the only option. And here's my advice straight from someone who thought about giving up more than once. Prepare quietly. Document everything. You don't need a big title or a corner office to protect what's yours. You need patience, receipts, and belief in your own worth even when no one else sees it. That's not paranoia. That's self-respect. That's survival. In this world, you may only get one chance to reclaim what's yours. So stay ready. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, not for me, for you, because the next time someone like Fletcher shows up, I want you to remember how this story ended. And know, you can write your own.